Would you look at that? We made it to Friday. Here it is, the end of the week. Once again, it comes up so fast, sometimes you don't even know that it's happening. It's kind of like the end of the school year because today is the final day of the school year for my kids. I don't know if your kids are getting done as well, but it seems to go fast. All of a sudden, it's the end of the year. All of a sudden, it's the end of the week. It's not the end of the month, right? This is still the first week of June, but nevertheless, time flies, and here we are again all the way up to Friday for another edition of the Morning Pitt Mailbag. You know what we do? We take questions from Pitt fans throughout the week on the message boards at Panther-Lair.com, our premium message board, the Between Fifth and Forbes message board. We take questions throughout the week, and then we answer as many as we can here on the Morning Pitt Mailbag, the Friday edition of the Morning Pitt. If I always say, like, if you want to ask a question, if you want to be part of the mailbag, you got to go to the premium message board, the Between Fifth and Forbes message board at Panther-Lair.com. Well, we got a good opportunity for you to do that right now. If you go to Panther-Lair.com, the website below, don't click that. That's an image. That's not a link. But if you type those words, Panther-Lair.com, up into the search bar above, you'll go to the website. You can sign up right now and get a free trial of Panther-Lair.com. That'll take you all the way through the start of training camp in August. Yeah, you get the whole summer, you get the whole month of June with all the recruiting info and action that's happening. And you get all the Pitt coverage throughout the summer leading into the first week of training camp. And you're going to get it for free with the promo code PITTVisits. It's one word, PITTVISITS. Sign up with that promo code and you'll get a free trial through the whole summer. It's a pretty great deal. We don't do these kind of promos very often, so take advantage of this one right now if you want to make sure you get all the Pitt coverage. And listen, that promo code expires on Monday. Monday's the last day. So you either get it now or you don't get it. But if you get it now, you get all the coverage through the whole month of June, whole month of July, and the first week, I think it goes up to August 10th or something is when the free trial runs out. So you basically get into training camp. It's a great opportunity for you to get the best Pitt coverage and not miss anything at Panther-Lair.com. And it gets an opportunity for you to be part of the mailbag. So we got questions this week from some of our regulars. Really appreciate that. Some other topics we'll talk about as well. Let's jump into the Morning Pitt Mailbag right here on YouTube.com/Panther-Lair.com. Thinking back about that intro I just did, I feel like I have a lot of ums and ahs in my speech sometimes. I think because it's rather extemporaneous. I'm not sitting here reading off a page. I don't type up the whole thing, 20 minutes worth of monologue and just read it. And so, sometimes there are sentences that aren't finished and different things. And I was thinking about this the other day because a couple of people have asked for transcripts of these. I guess they don't want to watch the video. They don't want to listen to the audio podcast. Of course, we always prefer that you watch the video. That's our favorite way for you to consume this content. But they would like to read a transcript of it. And, I'm not going to do that because it would take a lot of time to type up a transcript of these things every day. It would probably make me sick to my stomach to observe this every day and try to type it up and see how disjointed it really is when you put it down on paper. But nevertheless, I try to be a little more mindful of it, or I'm going to try to be a little more mindful of it, even though it's extemporaneous, to be sound a little more polished. That's our goal here on the Morning Pit, is to be a little bit more polished as we head into the summer. But either way, like this video and subscribe, youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com, so you don't miss any of our Pitt video content, whether it's these morning Pitt videos every day of the week, our weekly live show. It's every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, although this week it was at Tuesday. So we move it around sometimes, but the best way to make sure you don't miss the live stream or any of our video content is to subscribe, youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. We appreciate everybody who has done that and everybody who's watched the videos all week and everything like that. Let's jump into the questions here. SV Pig 1 starts us off, says, this official visit month seems to be lacking some star power versus years past. Who are some underrated recruits visiting that we should be getting excited about? So yeah, the official visits are starting right now. Recruits are on campus. We talked a lot about that yesterday. Wrote a lot about it yesterday. 321 column today is going to have a lot of stuff on official visits. That's the big focus right now. It's all about the June recruiting, and June recruiting is all about official visits, which are taking place as we speak. The recruits arrived yesterday. They'll stay today until tomorrow. Most of them will leave tomorrow. So you get 48 hours for the official visit, and unless they have something else to do, and what could be better than an official visit, they'll be here for the full 48 hours, and they'll leave tomorrow. And so we've been talking about that, previewing it a lot, leading up to throughout the week, and Yeah, when you look at the official visit list, I think there's one 4-star prospect visiting this weekend, Ezekiel Marcelin, who we think is we know is a linebacker from Florida, and we think he's a cousin of Jeremiah Marcelin, the Pitt freshman linebacker. A good prospect, and a 4-star guy. He's got a handful of official visits scheduled. He's got a good offer sheet, and he's one of the better prospects visiting Pitt this summer, taking an official visit, at least of what's planned right now. Bryson Jones, a 4-star wide receiver, is coming next week, and then Mason Alexander, a 4-star cornerback, is scheduled to come in the week after that. Bryson Jones being a 6'3" wide receiver, which of course has everyone asking if that's even possible for Pitt to have a 6'3" wide receiver on campus for an official visit. But that's the plan. Jones took an official visit to Arkansas last week, I guess. He's also taken one to Oklahoma State. This weekend, I think he's at Texas Tech. Then he'll be at Pitt, and after that is Texas A&M. He's got some. He take like a midweek visit or something to Boston College. I'm not sure if that one's happening or not. We'll have to see exactly how that schedule goes. And here's the thing with the official visits, and this isn't necessarily related to SV Pig 1's question, but it's related to the official visits overall. Like, sometimes we don't publish what we consider a confirmed list until like the morning of or the day of the start of the official visits. We put out our list yesterday at noon. Now, we've had a tentative list put together for a couple of weeks, that we've been building it and trying to confirm guys, but sometimes you just don't know. So, I was just looking at Bryson Jones' recruiting profile on Rivals. He's got an official visit to Boston College scheduled for June 12th and one to Pitt for June 13th. I don't think he's going to be in both places at once. We'll have to sort of iron out those details, and some of that may still be up in the air. And so that's something to always keep in mind when you look at these official visit lists. So we put out a list yesterday, the 13 guys visiting this weekend. We confirmed all those 13 names. We feel very confident about those 13 names. We think that is a complete, finalized, confirmed list. Next week's list, we hope to get confirmed and completed and finalized by Thursday as well, when the official visits are supposed to start. It's just kind of how it goes at this time of year. So keep that in mind as we move forward. And that could affect the number of 4-star recruits and the highly rated guys that, right now there's those 3 guys. For the whole month of June, for 3 official visit weekends, there are 3 4-star prospects who are expected to be coming in. That's not a lot. We'll compare it to previous years in a second, but that's not a lot. You would expect Pitt to be able to get more than 3 4-star prospects on campus. Now, there's a whole separate conversation to have about the ranking process and recruits and who should be a 4-star and who shouldn't and this and that. And we have these conversations all the time. We can save that for a day in July when we literally have nothing else to talk about. But it is a factor to consider as well. We're going by the aesthetics of the official visit list, and what we see right now when we look at the rankings is 3 4-star guys. That is a fall. As SV Pig 1 said, that is a drop from last year. Last year was the high watermark, really, for Pat Narduzzi, and really Pitt probably for the high watermark in a long time. One of the best months of official visits we've seen was last year. Pitt had 14 recruits who ended up as 4-star prospects take official visits in June last year. Now, they didn't sign all of those guys. Let me actually bring up that list just to remind myself. They signed Francis Brew, who's a 4-star, Cameron Lindsay, and Jasir Whittington, and Sincere Edwards. Yeah, so out of the 14, they got 4. 4 out of the 14. There were good players in there. They had Yassine Willis committed, but they lost that commitment. They thought they were going to get Coy Beasley. They were in pretty good shape with him, but he ended up committing to Purdue later in the month. And they were kind of in early on a few of these guys who ended up blowing up and going to other schools, but they were at least able to get them on campus. Now, you say, well, getting them on campus is not the win. The win is when you get them to commit, and then the win is when you get them to sign, and then the win is when you get them on the field, and the win is when they help you win games, and the win is when they go get drafted and all of that. But you got to get them on campus. It's hard to get a commitment from a guy. It's hard to get him to sign. It's hard to get him to help you win games unless you can get him on campus. And last year they were getting a lot of guys on campus, a lot of 4-star prospects, 14 of them. And these are all guys who are going into their freshman year, so we don't know if any of them are going to be any good or not in college. Like Francis Brew just enrolled. Cameron Lindsay and Jasir Whittington, they're arriving right now. Brew was here all spring, so was Sincere Edwards. They both enrolled in January. And look good. I think Sincere Edwards has a good chance to play and be in the rotation at defensive end as a true freshman this year. But they were able to get those guys on campus, which I think is big. And I think there are a lot of reasons that go into that. I think there's a lot of things you can look at, like, coming off of 20 wins over 2 seasons, coming off an 11-win season with an ACC championship and following that up with a 9-win season. That following off season, they had some success, and they were able to get 14 4-star recruits to visit. I think if you look in the aftermath of the ACC championship, and there was always jokes about, oh, they didn't get a recruiting bump. Did they get a recruiting bump? Why didn't they get a recruiting bump? They did in that 2023 recruiting class, which is the one that they recruited after, basically in the aftermath of the ACC championship. I would contend they did pretty well. I would contend they got a pretty good crop of players. You look down that list. I was trying to bring it up here. Isaiah Neal looks legit. Kenny Johnson, Jordan Bass, Braylon Lovelace. I mean, like, you might not say he was a recruiting bump, but he looks pretty good. Jesse Anderson, Rasheem Biles looks good. BJ Williams started as a true freshman. Cruz Brookins is going to be a stud. I think it ended up being and will continue to reveal itself as a really good recruiting class. And I think some of that came from the momentum of winning the ACC championship. And I think last year's June official visits were a product or carried some momentum from winning 20 games over 2 years, having that 9-4 season, and all the success that Pitt had in 2021 and 2022. I think it builds toward it. Are they seeing some of the effects of going 3-9 this year, where you've only got 3 4-star prospects currently scheduled to take official visits? Maybe. Probably. At least to some extent. I would say there's a factor there. Pitt doesn't have a lot of momentum right now. They're coming off a bad season. And now they have a whole new coaching staff. You're reestablishing and trying to rebuild relationships and build new relationships. It can be a little bit tougher, particularly for guys that are 4-star recruits who have a lot of options. They're highly coveted, and they're getting looked at and recruited by a lot of schools. You're trying to get in with a whole new staff to try and get these guys on campus. It can be a little bit of a tougher sell coming off a 3-9 season. So to SV Pig 1's question, are there guys in this group, though, that maybe are a little under the radar? And yeah, I think there's some pretty good 3-star guys that I think are really intriguing. Ian Williams, the safety, from Georgia, I think is a really good prospect. Gianni Contosis, I apologize for mispronouncing his name. He's a 3-star wide receiver, pretty decent size at 6'1", kid from Maryland. I think he's pretty good. Justin Thompson, I think, is really intriguing. The linebacker who's coming in this weekend, 6'3", 225. He's a big guy. I think he's a pretty intriguing player. And I'll tell you what, I think some of the commitments that Pitt has right now are pretty good. I think Tony Kinsler, 5.7 on the Rivals rating scale, which puts him just a little bit shy of being a 4-star. That's like the highest 3-star you can be. I think he's a playmaker. I think he'll operate out of the slot. He might be in the backfield. He's going to do a lot of different things. And I think Bryce Yates as well. I mean, Bryce Yates put up a stat line last year in 14 games. He caught 79 passes for almost 1,200 yards and 15 touchdowns. And he scored 3 other touchdowns, like rushing. I think he had a pick 6 and a return touchdown. So 14 games. I mean, that's a college football season with a conference championship game and a bowl game, right? And he went 79, 1,200, and 15. That's a huge stat line. And I mean, you can't always compare just stats to stats. Not all stats are created equal, but that's a monster stat line for a guy. 79, 1,200, 15. And I think that speaks to what kind of playmaker he is. I think he's a guy who can really make things happen. I think Mason Heinschel is a really good quarterback. I think, it wouldn't be a surprise at all if they have to battle to hold on to him like they have with quarterbacks in the past. We'll see if they're able to hold on to him better than they have with quarterbacks in the past. But I think he's a really good quarterback prospect. I thought there was somebody else. There was one other I wanted to highlight. I mean, I like Shep Turk, Thomas Jefferson guy. How can you not like a guy from TJ? It's TJ. You got to love TJ guys. So, I think there are good players in there. But, look, Pitt has always found its success with 3 stars. I mean, like, the bulk of Pitt's success over the years has come with 3-star prospects that the coaches were able to. I mean, even just take in the Narduzzi era, but I think you could apply this to Paul Chryst. You could probably apply it to Dave Wanstead's era to some extent. But I think certainly in the Narduzzi era, they've excelled because they've been able to find 3-star recruits who fit the system well. They're able to evaluate those guys, have good evaluations on them, and then coach and develop them. And this is especially true on defense, where I think you've found most of the success, most of the individual success, and most of the sort of unit-wide success. I think they've excelled at doing it on defense. Offense, they've been a little bit more hit or miss, but I mean, certainly you've had, Branson Taylor was a 3-star. Izzy Abanikanda was a 3-star. Jordan Addison was a 3-star. Kenny Pickett was a 3-star. I mean, this is the area where Pitt lives. All right. And when they find success is when they're able to find the right guys in that vast middle of 3-star recruits and coach them up and develop them. And either they find the guys who were overlooked by the industry or overlooked by the recruiting industry, the rankings industry, or by the college football industry. They're able to find those guys and find the right guys and bring them in and develop. Nate Arnell, another 3-star prospect. We'll see how he develops and what he turns into. But I mean, Jesse Anderson, a 3-star guy. All those linebackers I mentioned, Bass and Biles and Lovelace. I mean, these are 3-star guys. Gavin Bartholomew, 3-star guy. Jared Wayne. You take your pick, and there are exceptions for sure. Tyler Boyd was not a 3-star. Adam Bisnavati was not a 3-star. There have been 4-star prospects over the years who have contributed at a high level. But the bulk of Pitt's success has and will continue to come from finding the right 3-star guys. So the official visit list this year is not as aesthetically pleasing as previous years, but there's a lot of potential in there. We got a question from Smenges. It says, with potential but many question marks across the defensive line, the importance of the linebacker play is heightened for 2024. Why specifically do you believe the 2024 linebackers will be better than the 2023 group and possibly the best linebacker group in recent years? Why specifically do I believe that? Because I overhype guys. That's what I do. Especially linebackers. You could be an athletic linebacker who's like 6'2", 6'3", 220 pounds. Forget about it. I'm going to call that guy an all-conference player and a potential All-American until I'm blue in the face. I'm going to talk about how he looks like a future pro. Look, I can't help it. And if you stood in some of those interview sessions with, there was one I distinctly remember, I think it might have been 2 years ago, Bengali Kamara and Solomon DeShields standing next to each other. And like as soon as they walked away, I turned to Chris Carter. I'll never forget this. I'm like, damn, those dudes look like NFL guys. And he was like, yeah, they do. I mean, we couldn't get over it. How big they were, how strong they looked. We know how athletic they are. And they had both filled out and looked like they were ready to play in the NFL. So this is what I do. Because now I'm looking at Biles. I'm looking at Lovelace. I'm looking at Bass. I'm looking at Lewis. I'm looking at bringing in Key Thompson. And I'm looking at Brandon George. And I'm like, this is a legit group. It's a group where, they're athletic, they're fast, and they're experienced. And not all the guys have all those traits, but the guys who don't have a lot of experience have the athleticism. And the guys who maybe don't have as much of the athleticism have the experience. So it's kind of a good match, I think Brandon George is a great middle linebacker to play between Biles and Lewis, or I think Key Thompson's a great middle linebacker to play between Lovelace and Bass, however it might sort out. But they got 6 guys there. They can go too deep. And I think, there was this, I don't want to call it an adjustment in how they recruited linebackers over the last couple of years. But I mean, I think you've seen trends, right? I mean, you've seen these guys who were safeties in high school, whether it was, I forgot where Kyle Lewis played in high school, but I mean, he's built like a safety. I think they might have put him at linebacker because they need him to do everything. But like Biles was a safety, Bass was a safety. I mean, it's still one of the best highlights I've seen, or one of the most interesting highlights I've seen out of a high school kid is when Jordan Bass, a linebacker prospect, takes a screen pass and goes like 75 yards because he's just that athletic and just that fast. He basically was a safety. Lovelace, they had him playing linebacker because he was their best player at Leechburg and they needed him in the middle of the defense. But these are all guys who could have been safeties in high school or were safeties in high school. These are all guys who could have gone to other schools and other defensive systems and played safety at those schools, but they're bulking up and moving to linebacker because of the athleticism and speed you need to have to play outside linebacker in this defense. I think they are fast. I think they are athletic. I think they've got those natural traits. The only thing they don't have, and I'm talking about Biles, Bass, Lovelace, and Lewis here, the only thing they don't have is the experience. But I think obviously that'll come. That's something that just, you get it as you get it, right? And I think as they get it, they're going to just get better and better. And so, look, yeah, I spent all last offseason telling you Bengali Kamara was the best player on the team. I'll own that. I'll wear it. It wasn't the first time I've been wrong about something, and it sure as hell won't be the last time I'm wrong about something. Although he would have been awesome. He could have been awesome. I'm telling you. Maybe DeShields will show it at Texas A&M. I don't know. Maybe Kamara will show it at South Carolina. I don't know. But I think you look at Lovelace, Bass, Biles, Lewis, and I think you've got some really good outside linebackers based on their physical attributes. And they've all got a year of experience in the defense. They've learned the defense. They should have they have an idea of what to do. And they made plays last year. Rasheem Biles blocked, 3 punts or something like that? Lovelace scored a touchdown on a scoop and score. And Kyle Lewis has, the Pitt coaches are as excited about him as anybody on the team. So I don't know if that's specific about why they'll be better, but I think there's a lot of potential in that group. I really do. And I know there's a lot of potential for commitments out of the official visits this weekend. So make sure you use that promo code Pitt Visits, PITTVISITS, Pitt Visits, one word, no spaces. Use that promo code to get free Panther-Lair.com from now through the start of training camp. Yes, an extended free trial, 2 months of a free trial to find out about the best Pitt coverage you can find on the internet. Pitt football, basketball, and recruiting. It's all at Panther-Lair.com, Panther-Lair.com, Pittsburgh.rivals.com. And then, of course, our YouTube channel here. Like this video and subscribe, youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com, so you don't miss any of our Pitt video content. It's exciting. It's fun. We have a great time here at youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. We'd like you to be a part of it. So make sure you like and subscribe. You don't miss any of it. Thanks so much for watching today. Thanks for watching all week. I hope you've had a great week. I hope June's off to a great start for you. Stay tuned to Panther-Lair.com for the coverage of the official visits all day today and tomorrow, and then a prospect camp on Sunday. We'll be back at it with another Morning Pitt on Monday. So hope you had a great week. Have a great weekend, and we will talk to you on Monday with the Morning Pitt right here on youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com.